Hello, good evening, welcome to the programme.
Yes, good evening. Coming up tonight. Searing heat and scorched earth. As emergency services spend another day tackling wildfires, there's drastic action from the government.
As operations in South Yorkshire enter a second day, the Prime Minister Andy Burnham takes action, banning disposable barbecues.
Thankfully, the temperatures are taking a dip over the next few days as the heat wave ends. But are we really losing the heat altogether? And are we finally going to get any rain? All the detail a little later on.
Also tonight, calling time on tradition, how this historic pub near Whitby and so many more like it are shutting up for good.
I'm live in York, where Yorkshire are taking on Nottinghamshire for a place in cricket's One Day Cup semi-final, and we'll be previewing York City's long-awaited return to the Football League.
And up into the great blue yonder. We spend the day in the skies above York with some of the world's best glider pilots. But first, to news that many will have been waiting for, that the current heat wave is coming to an end and cooler temperatures are on their way, well, for now at least.
None more so than our region's firefighters. Right now, they are dealing with several major blazes on open fields and moorland. Yet another day of being stretched to the limit by the searing heat.
Well, one of those fires is at Bradfield in South Yorkshire, where crews have been battling flames for more than 48 hours. Our reporter Zane Hogan is live there for us this evening. And Zane, what's the situation like there this evening?
Well, here in Bradfield, as you can probably tell, fire crews have been working non-stop. For 48 hours, they've been working here trying to put out the flames that you can see behind me. Working non-stop, around the clock. It's just what they do for a living. And they're actually putting out a controlled fire at the moment. They're burning the ground deliberately to try and stop that ground being used as fuel. It's also been a problem, wildfires, as you say, across South Yorkshire, across the other parts of Sheffield. There's been dramatic drone footage that you can see here. That was actually started deliberately, the fire service have said, although it has been brought under control, we're told now.
Saying the record-breaking temperatures, of course, we've seen over recent days have made things really difficult for fire crews. There's midges as well there as well, making things really unpleasant.
Yes, well, I've had to deal with the midges this afternoon, but it's nothing in comparison to what the fire crew and the emergency services have dealt with here for 2 days now. And they're here joining me now is Scott. Scott, what can you tell us about the operation here?
So we've been here for the last 48 hours. We got initially mobilised to a wildfire just the other side of this stone wall. It actually started 3 weeks ago as a campfire that's been deep-seated. Obviously, due to the weather conditions, it's auto-ignited and then the fire's got much larger. Over the last 48 hours, we've been working continuously to contain this fire in line with the Fitzwilliam estate. Gamekeepers. So right now we've got a containment strategy in place around the fire. Yep.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And Josh, talk to us a little bit about what's going on. I mean, your team's currently setting fire to the woodland. What's going on?
Yeah, so we've got the fire service, we've got the gamekeepers, and we've got a tactical advisor that's come up from Dorset. He's like the goat of the wildfire world, if you like. We've got a backburn going on to take away the fuel load. And that's how these are extreme measures in extreme times.
Fantastic. Thank you very much both for joining us this evening. Extreme measures, of course, being taken. Emergency services will be here for 72 hours at least, battling the blaze, and let's hope we can see an end to these wildfires across the region soon.
Yes, let's hope so, Zane. Thank you very much indeed. Zane Hogan live at Bradfield for us this evening.
Firefighters still, fighting that fire which started 3 weeks ago. Well, those scenes like that in South Yorkshire are, of course, seen widespread about the place. Major wildfires are happening right across the country, and it's prompted drastic measures from the Prime Minister.
Yes, with growing fears that we could face another blaze on the scale of the one which raged for weeks on the North York moors last year, the government introduced a ban on the sale of disposable barbecues.
It's a move welcomed by farmers, fire crews and homeowners facing another worryingly warm and dry weekend, as Greg Easteel reports.
It's now just over a year since a 6-month-long blaze tore through miles of the North York moors, leaving scores of fire crews working hundreds of hours to put it all out. That destruction, it's now known, caused by someone cooking over a naked flame. And today, as wildfires ravage the country again, the government stepped up its response by banning the sale of disposable barbecues like this one, labelling them a significant risk to the public and a product that can't be considered safe. Not hard to find a fireman who agrees.
They reach very, very high temperatures, and when put on the soil, especially in these areas where the soil is made of peat, they can get very hot and they can burn underground and can often go unseen, so people will be almost unaware of the fire that they are starting.
They are wildfire starter kits being sold in supermarkets for £5. Sometimes they're discounted. I went into a supermarket recently, they were discounted to £2.50. For £2.50, you could be causing one of the most devastating wildfires the country has ever seen.
As we filmed, this crew in York, just back from a field fire, headed back out to a hedgerow fire. You can understand why some of them look fed up. Out onto the moors towards Whitby, warning shots fired at the roadside to passing tourists, urging them as we head into another hot weekend not to become the problem. The nightmare scenario is easy to see. One rogue spark for the sake of a few sausages in the sunshine that could turn this already parched land into scorched land that'll take decades to be healthy again. Farmer George Cromack saw vast swathes of his land ruined last summer and admits he's living on his nerves again this year.
Yeah, it's been a big anxiety all year. What happens, the tourist season, what if the weather's warm, what if it happens again? And a big anxiety of what could happen, who might do what. People are out there, barbecues, campfires, there's still a potential. I mean, people enjoying the holiday, but perhaps not thinking, getting a little bit carried away.
As the sun beats down then, the message couldn't be clearer. Don't bring a barbecue to your picnic table and add to what's becoming a burning problem. Greg Easteel, ITV News.
Well, of course, the heatwave is said to be ending, and we'll get a full weather forecast for the weekend from Kerry later in the programme. Now, you're watching Friday's calendar, and still to come. In safe hands, we catch up with Leeds United's record signing, James Trafford, as he looks ahead to a new chapter at Elland Road.
And things are looking up, quite literally, as we head into the skies above York with some of the world's best glider pilots. In the glorious weather we've been having, there's nothing better than sitting outside and enjoying a drink at a country pub. But if you are doing that this weekend, make the most of it, because the boozer is fast becoming a thing of the past in many parts of Yorkshire.
Yes, it's sad news. New figures show our part of the world has one of the highest number of pub closures in the whole country. And, some of them are being demolished too. Now, those inside the industry say the government needs to do more to support them. Michael Billington reports from Glaisdale near Whitby.
Glaisdale in the North York moors, among the most picturesque of settings, a village full of history and folklore. Legend has it that Beggar's Bridge here was named after Tom, the impoverished farm boy who left to make his fortune at sea and returned to finally win the hand of the wealthy squire's daughter. But fast forward to 21st century Glaisdale, and real-life cost pressures could mean anything but a happy ending for the village pub.
It's the tax, I'm paying VAT outstanding, I've got rent outstanding. The duty on the beer they take is ridiculous. It's 2/3 to 3/4 of the price of a pint.
Landlord Tony's let 2/3 of his staff go at the Arncliffe Arms after an increase in wages and national insurance he simply couldn't afford. Despite cutting back, he's decided after 50 years in the business to call time on his career.
Everything I earn will go out in bills and tax. So it's just not worth me killing myself 18 hours a day to do that.
If this wasn't here, this lot would be mutinying against me. We're walking the coast-to-coast trip, which goes right across the country, and it is part of the culture of the country, isn't it? It'd be a shame if it wasn't available, I guess.
When I knew that I was coming to England, there were a list of things that I wanted to check off of one of them was fish and chips in a pub, and having a beer or a pint with my husband in a pub. And so, yes, if that didn't exist anymore, I think that would be quite sad.
It's part of why we came here, to visit some of the pubs and drink some great beer, real ale.
But if there's nowhere around to sell it?
Right, exactly. It'd be a loss.
Almost 800 pubs will close across the country this year, according to the Campaign for Real Ale. So far, 82 have gone for good, either demolished or converted into something else. 6 of those permanent closures were in Yorkshire, the third highest in the country.
The industry has been calling out for VAT changes, for business rate changes, to take a look at the national insurance contributions that were brought in a previous budget, and just accept that actually it's really difficult and it's really hard to run a pub.
You can't guarantee their future, that's not for government, but we can relieve some of the pressure. We're doing that with the business rate cut. And in pubs, we as a government have also knocked back the beer duty that's paid when people buy a pint of beer in a pub compared to a supermarket or off-licence sales.
How difficult is it, with the time that you've spent in this industry, to see it the way it is now?
Heartbreaking. I am heartbroken.
The Arncliffe Arms has been serving this community since it opened in 1800. But once Tony has gone, this pub, like so many others, could be consigned to the history books itself. Michael Billington, ITV News in Glaisdale in the North York Moors.
Beautiful part of the world as well. Now, if you've got some old jewellery tucked away at home, we've got some good news for you tonight. It's probably worth a lot more than you think.
Yes, according to experts, the value of gold has risen by almost a third over the last year, and it's all partly because of conflicts around the world which are pushing investors towards traditional, safer options.
But it's also sparked a big increase in thefts and robberies by organised criminal gangs. So if you do have a few trinkets in a drawer or jewellery box, make sure you're properly protected and insured. Kevin Ashford has more.
Armed robbery, the terrifying moments when thieves target high-value goods in a jeweller's shop. For many in the industry, it's a serious cause for concern. This jewellers in Sheffield has made changes to tighten security.
We're a lot more wary. We used to be of the kind where, the cabinets where there's jewellery on display, we didn't used to lock them always. Now staff have been instructed, even if there's no one in the shop, you're constantly checking all the locks, make sure everything is locked, just as another layer of security, just in case someone does get in.
So far this year, there have been 34 robberies at jewellers reported to the industry's crime prevention scheme, with goods valued at more than £3.7 million being stolen. The same period last year saw 10 robberies reported. Security experts say criminals are attracted to luxury items that have increased in value.
The gold price really spiked at the end of 2025, continued into 2026, and I think that was the initial driver of what we're seeing. There's no bank robberies anymore. They ended a long time ago. Banks don't have cash, right? It's very difficult to get cash out of a bank these days. So did bank robbers go away? No, they didn't. They simply switched their attention to small item, high value. Well, that's gold, watches, diamonds, jewellery, that sort of thing.
With gold prices predicted to continue their upward trend, experts say retailers and householders must be prepared to invest in security measures to counter the threat from criminals. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Dramatic pictures there. Well, next to the vital emergency service run by volunteer bikers that's helping save lives across Yorkshire every day.
Blood Bikes give free out-of-hours transport services for blood and other essential medical supplies, but more volunteers are needed to keep the service running.
Amrit Birdie has been to Sheffield to meet volunteers from the Yorkshire-based White Knights Blood Bike charity.
Another day, another potentially life-saving delivery from Anne, the blood biker. She's a rider for the White Knights Yorkshire Blood Bikes, transporting medical essentials. And despite the name, it's not just about delivering blood.
We do a lot of really urgent medication, mainly palliative care medication. And
anything really that the hospital wants us to transport. We've even done dentures and some quite bizarre things and medical equipment. It's very, very costly for them doing it by alternative transport. We do it for free for them.
Today, Anne's delivery takes her from the Royal Hallamshire Hospital in Sheffield to St Luke's Hospice, where many patients rely on their medications being dropped off.
Getting timely medications to patients is really important, and it can be really, really stressful for families to have to leave their loved ones when they are really sick and go and get prescriptions for them. They're always really, really grateful, I think, that somebody's done that job for them.
Blood bike services save the NHS millions of pounds every year, but they need more people to get involved. And it's not just bikers they're after.
It's that element of just doing something good for your local community. And because the organisations thrive on the goodwill of those volunteers, whether it's for those shifts driving or riding the bikes to deliver, or whether it's fundraising, or whether it's taking the telephone calls and helping administrate those local charities, we all rely on volunteers from all across the UK.
On National Blood Bike Awareness Day, volunteers like Anne and Sandy are celebrated for their selfless work. But for them, it's just another day on the road. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
Yes, where would we be without volunteers? OK, it is time for a bit of sport now.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Now, it's a big weekend of sport ahead for us, and the new Football League season kicks off with York City making their return after 10 years away. More on that later.
Yes, but before that, there's been a big game of cricket taking place in York today. Yorkshire aiming to reach the semi-finals of the Royal London One Day Cup. Our Chris Dawkes is there for us now. Chris, tell us what's the latest?
Well, Lara, you've come to me at a really exciting point in this match. Just 4 overs to go now. Notts, who Yorkshire are playing, need 37 runs to win, but crucially with just 3 wickets left in the tank. I've got to say this match has swung from right to left and left to right. Yorkshire posted a fairly competitive total of 273 I should say, in their 50 overs. Notts, well, they lost 3 quick wickets right at the start, but then a 5th wicket stand of 155 swung it their way. But Yorkshire have just taken 3 quick wickets in the last half an hour. Well, we'll let you know how this one progresses by the end of the sport, I can tell you. But this isn't the only, they've just hit a 6 of Notts, so that's more runs on their total. This isn't the only cricket, as I was saying, taking place today for our teams, that is. At the 100 competition, Sunrisers Leeds, both women and men are in knockout competition, hoping to reach finals day at Lord's on Sunday. The women are actually already through. They beat the Southern Brave by 5 wickets. York's very own Lauren Winfield Hill top scoring with 37 runs there. The men, well, they're currently taking place in their match against the Manchester Supergiants, and hopefully they can meet the women there in the final down at Lord's on Sunday.
Now, Chris, we mentioned it earlier, the EFL season kicks off in earnest this weekend. A big crowd expected at the Community Stadium just down the road from you in York tomorrow, but it isn't all celebrations ahead of their return to the league, is it?
Yeah, it's a real shame this, Lara, after they clinched promotion in quite dramatic circumstances at Rochdale back in April. There was a lot of feel-good factor euphoria at York City, but 3 weeks ago, the owners, the Ugler family, sacked their manager Stuart Maynard. It's left a bitter taste in a lot of York City supporters' mouths ahead of their first game of the league season against Bristol Rovers tomorrow.
It was a celebration a decade in the making. But since York City dramatically clinched promotion back to the Football League, there's been significant change. 3 weeks ago, manager Stuart Maynard was sacked by those who embraced him in April, with the club citing a difference in vision. He was replaced by Scott Lindsay, who experienced a real baptism of fire during York's recent EFL Cup defeat by Crawley. Lindsay wasn't sacked the following morning, and tomorrow will lead the team for their opening League Two match of the season against Bristol Rovers.
My message to the supporters is support the players. If they don't like me, it ain't a problem to me, honestly, it's not. Just support the players. I really want them to to back the players. They're a good side, right? If they don't like me, I'm absolutely fine with that. And I kind of get why. Like you say, I've come into an hornet's nest. You can call it that, call it whatever you want, not a problem. I've got real thick skin, I'm bulletproof, it's fine. But please back the players.
2.5, 3 weeks ago, we still had Stuart Maynard in charge. We were preparing for pre-season. There wasn't a hint of all this coming along. And then over the course of 48 hours, it blew up. There was a far from satisfactory explanation given. So here we are, as you say, looking forward to the first game. And yeah, genuinely looking forward to it, but at the same time, with some very mixed feelings.
Well, tomorrow's game against Bristol Rovers is a sellout. 8,500 fans in this stadium behind me tomorrow afternoon. So it just goes to show that despite what they've been through over the past 3 weeks, the fans are still excited about the first season back in the Football League.
We know the support's going to be unbelievable. Like, the ground's going to be full. So we've just got to be us and play the way that we play, and bring that intensity. And I think if we bring that intensity, the fans will be behind us regardless.
Whatever happens, it promises to be an eventful afternoon at the community stadium.
Well, best of luck to York and all of our teams kicking off their season this weekend. And Chris, still a little wait for Leeds fans though.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. We've still got another week to go until the Premier League season starts, but today the club's record signing has been speaking to the local media. Now, James Trafford got his first taste of action in a Leeds shirt in a friendly against Manchester United in Dublin on Wednesday. It's got to be said he made some impressive saves, didn't he? But despite only being at the club just over a week, or just under a week, I should say, he'd been impressed by his new teammates.
I think we can achieve anything we want to achieve. Like, we're always, from the week I've had so far, we're always trying to get better. We're always trying to improve. And when you think like that, you're only going one way, and that's upwards rather than downwards. So yeah, it's a really exciting time.
Meanwhile, last night wasn't a great one for our teams in Super League, with both York and Leeds losing. Now, York, well, they were beaten fairly convincingly at Warrington, whereas Leeds thought they'd levelled the scores late on against Lee, but Ryan Hall's foot was just in touch. Leeds not only losing the match by 20 points to 16, but losing their 100% record at Headingley this season. Just before I go, a quick update here from York. Nottinghamshire, well, it's probably swung their way now again. As I was saying, keep swinging Yorkshire's way, then Notts' way. They need 18 from 17 balls remaining to make that semi-final down at Leicester on Sunday.
Thanks very much for the update, Chris. Much appreciated. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Now, it's a funny time to be talking about thermals, but to me, they're what I might wear when it's getting a bit chilly. But to glider pilots, well, they are hugely uplifting. So you might think that seemingly endless blue skies and lots of heat should make the perfect glider flying conditions. Not necessarily.
I was wondering where this was going. Yes, this week the York Glider Centre at Rufford has been hosting a national flying competition. But yesterday it was too hot to fly, simply because the cockpits were like ovens.
But the pilots have been back in the air today, taking part in a national competition to find out who is Top Gun. One thing's for sure, it wasn't Fraser Maud.
Ready for takeoff, dozens of glider pilots from across the country. This is Competition Enterprise, here at the York Gliding Centre for the first time in its 54-year history.
So the gliders have been up for anywhere between 5, some have been up for 7 hours. Today we'll be easily looking at 4 or 5 hours and covering distances of between 300 and 500 kilometres today.
Of course, once you're in the air with a glider, you have to rely on your skill and the elements, looking for those thermals, looking for those wind currents to get you back home. But just in case you don't quite manage it, some of them have a little secret. That is a hidden jet engine to make sure you can get home in one piece. It's a sport for all ages. Dan Hender is one of the youngest.
Well, I had my first flight when I was 9 and then started training at 12 and went solo at 14, and yeah, now I'm 21 and flying in competitions, and yeah, it's great fun.
Phil and Diana, both in their 70s, are literally kings of the air.
My first glider flight was actually at Linton-on-Ouse. I didn't want to join the RAF, and they didn't keep offering me free flying, so in the end I had to pay for it myself.
Poor little baby. I had to pay from the start.
So how long have you been flying?
Me? since 1969, however long that is.
But the real master of the skies is Chris Gill, holder of numerous gliding records. This week he's leading the competition, despite flying a glider built here in North Yorkshire almost 70 years ago.
So made in 1957, just down the road at Kirby Moorside. Not very good performance, but we're making it go very well this week. But yeah, it was high performance back in the day. But as you can see around us, it looks a bit out of place.
It just looks beautiful and it talks to you when you're flying, because it's all a bit blunt. It makes all sorts of noises and shakes and shudders, so it's talking to you the whole time.
I would be terrified.
Well, if you get used to it, it's fine. It's somebody, a companion up there with you.
Robin, take up slack.
Robin, up slack.
A crosswind for takeoff wasn't ideal, but once these magnificent men and women in their flying machines are up, they're in a different world.
And you see, that's what it's like up there, isn't it? You can't hear anything. It's just the peace.
Peace, silence. Rather them than me, though. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, Kez is here. Too hot to fly yesterday.
Too hot to fly yesterday, yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprised. It was our warmest August day on record.
Amazing.
I mentioned this yesterday, I can confirm it. Topcliffe, 35.6, and that was 3.7 degrees higher than the previous record. And it wasn't just Topcliffe, it was almost all of our Met-Offer status sites yesterday that had their warmest August day on record. And then last night, did you sleep? Not me.
It was hot, wasn't it?
My
Yeah.
goodness.
I mentioned
Emily Moore the night before last, which got to 21.5, but all of those other temperatures were last night's temperatures. And if you think that our August average is 21, it was an exceptionally warm night. And that's the theme that it's been all summer, really. Just the nights have been warm in these heat waves, as well as, of course, the days. Some good news, I think, for most of us. This is our temperature contrast tomorrow compared to today. And many places will be 3 to 6 degrees down on what we've experienced today. We did get to 31, but I mean, looking at sort of closer towards average as we head through into the weekend, just above. So feeling much more pleasant and fresh. Look at this, Wendy Scott Redmeyers. The plug hole there's got some weeds in it. Oh my goodness. Carlos at Damflask was happy today that he was near water and he was trying to get cool. But yes, there's still evidence, isn't there, that we need plenty of rain. I will show you this very briefly as we head through into tonight and tomorrow. There's a small chance of some heavy and thundery downpours, but not really for Sheffield, I don't think, where of course we've seen earlier in the programme we desperately need the rain. Here is your weekend forecast. Here we go.
Expect clear skies, island vibes and afternoons made for exploring. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, another very warm day across the region today. We did have the cloud building from the northwest during the afternoon. A fantastic shot by Barbara here at Ilkley Moor. Weather photos at ITV.com, and really nice to see the heather starting to come through now despite overcast skies. Overnight tonight, so we continue with the risk of a few showers, but they will be the exception rather than the rule. For most of us, dry tonight and a mainly dry weekend, and it will still feel warm in any sunshine, although a lot fresher compared to previous days. We've had plenty of sunshine today. A little bit of cloud coming in from the west, and we do look to the northwest for our weather conditions as we head through into the next couple of days. So with that northwesterly flow, we are expecting into the early hours it to become a little clearer and cooler from the northwest, but further south and east we hang on to the humidity, so here slightly higher risk of catching a heavy and thundery downpour, but for most of us we will stay dry with clear spells and certainly a very warm start to the night. As we head through into the early hours of tomorrow, 5:44 and 8:36 are your sun times. So tomorrow, an odd shower perhaps in the morning, but it's a mostly dry day. There'll be some lovely spells of sunshine in between cloud, and if you're in the sunny spells, it will feel very pleasant indeed, with highs up to around 23 or 24. But compared to the last couple of days, noticeable difference, and it will feel fresher with that northwesterly flow, although fairly light breezes. As we head through into Sunday, again mostly dry. There will be some cloud around, slightly higher risk of catching a shower, but still in the sunshine, 22 to 24. But we have got a system to the north and the west as we head through later in Monday and Tuesday, and that could bring us a little bit of rain.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thanks, Keza. Who's behind you?
I know, these beautiful starlings. We've all wanted to jump in and cool down, haven't we, over the last few days? But there you go. Thank you for the photos.
Having a nice time,
I think I need to do that, definitely.
Yes.
Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. We look forward to seeing you again throughout the week next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.